JEPA are the East African Avengers. I think that's the perfect way to put it. Karibu JEPA.
Previous generations, they've had high hopes, but sometimes we feel like they fell short.
The thing that plagues a lot of big institutions is the gap between idea to action.
So this is really us as JEPA and us as a generation really stepping up to the plate and starting to have these conversations early. It's like you're buying the Bitcoin when it was at $500.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Get in during the dip. Karibu JEPA.
Hey, it feels good to finally say that, doesn't it?
No, it does. It does. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally on the airwaves.
We truly are finally on the airwaves. And really, I think what's really exciting is this is just a start. And there's so much to come between us, but also to our audience. So maybe just to address our audience this time, Karibu JEPA. My name is Murimi.
And I am Kuda, and together we will be taking you through this journey of delving into the topics at the forefront of the East African space, through conversations with influential voices in various fields, to debates on pressing topics. Karibu JEPA brings you something to quench that thirst for a podcast, which is truly East African.
Hey, Kuda, is this your first one? Are you sure? It's seeming like you're already a pro.
I've had practice in my life, but people in my life tell me that I can't shut up. So this might be a good use for me to finally put that talkative energy.
You found your final release for something to get that energy out.
Finally.
Well, Karibu JEPA to you all. And Karibu JEPA, we're saying it as a greeting, but it's also the name of JEPA Africa's new podcast. And I think what I'm realizing right now, to some out there, they may know about JEPA, but then there's also, hopefully, we're meeting a lot of new people through this who may have never heard anything about JEPA. So a bit of a quick TLDR of who JEPA is, what JEPA is. So from the history standpoint of this, JEPA was started by a group of young East Africans who had the desire to pool their money together to invest in young, growing and exciting African companies.
Like a chama.
Like a chama, exactly. Look at you pulling in that East Africanness there.
Yeah. We have to make it accessible, huh?
Yeah, a chama, but really a chama on, I like to say a chama on steroids, because I think one of the conceptions about a chama is you just kind of put your money together. Maybe you buy a piece of land, maybe you go do an MMF, which is really the in thing in Kenya right now. But I think learning more about JEPA since joining, I think what JEPA was doing more than just investing. It was making larger impact, empowering other people, and also growing the capital for the people inside. And as I'm just talking about that, JEPA started off as JEPA Capital, where it was a capital where what we're talking about, this Chama-esque vibe, but then it grew into now, I guess, your section or where you work within into the advisory. So maybe you can tell them a bit more of JEPA Advisory.
Sure. Advisory is concerned with providing data-driven insights to inform decision-making across 5 desks: finance, technology, climate and energy, culture and commerce, and healthcare and education, covering all the necessary pillars. All the necessary pillars, creating a healthy and functioning economy. If you want to take a look at the insights at the website, I'm sure that you'll certainly find something of interest to you, whether you're a business leader, a politician, a student, a policymaker, or just generally somebody who's curious about the development of East Africa. I was on the website recently and I saw articles on the state of sex education. I scrolled down further, I saw some on AI. I scrolled down a little bit further, I saw blue finance. You can also find topics about the cost of the corruption, and even an article about navigating East Africa's water crisis. So the insights are not only posing very interesting questions and bringing to light some very pertinent issues in the region, but also they propose daring solutions to these very problems which plague the region. And our article, our Insight Generation, is proof of our expertise, but it also informs our client work. Advisory not only produces insights, but also works with clients, and we have worked with people from energy, law, investment banks, all the sorts. So we really do provide a lot of information and value to the industries of which we write about.
Even me, as somebody who knows about JEPA, I think even just hearing you tell me that is now giving me a very good bird's eye view of the whole JEPA Africa situation. Yeah. Just kind of to solidify that, there's 2 sides. There's a capital side, which is where now I work within. And the capital, we do capital raising, and we're still on that same mission of investing in companies and building them out. And there is still those investing opportunities for now people outside. And as Kuda talked about, he's on the advisory side, which does a plethora of things that are really interesting. I'm a bit newer to JEPA than Kuda. So maybe Kuda, for you as well, who have you, throughout your time here at JEPA, who have you seen as a type of people that JEPA hires and a type of people working within JEPA?
This is how JEPA is very striking. Everything that I've just mentioned to you, you would assume that I was talking about a massive mega cap company. But the thing about JEPA is the average age in JEPA must be below 25, 24, with the oldest maybe soon to reach 26. It's very young, and it's made of university students and fresh grads, all from the best top universities from Australia, the US, the UK, scattered across Europe. And they're all just East Africans concerned with the development of the region. So you know that it's kind of like an ideal situation where you have the brightest minds from a particular location coming together to enrich the knowledge about that location or particular geographical region concerned with the 5 desks that we mentioned before. So it's kind of like a superhero team, but just of all very intelligent people. That's kind of what it is.
It's really like East African Avengers to some extent.
It's the JEPA or the East African Avengers. I think that's the perfect way to put it. You summarized it perfectly. The East African Avengers.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, I think one interesting or like JEPA serves clients in one respect in multiple ways, but I think it also serves the individuals inside it. I recently moved back to Kenya, and Kuda is still currently in the UK. And I think what it has given all of us within JEPA the opportunity to do is, while we're outside of the country or within the country, so that we are working within, we are able to make impacts in really significant ways. Let me not try to undermine it or downplay it. It's really significant impact at a young age. And it's not, a lot of us have worked within these very large institutions where there's very set structures, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and JEPA is a very structured institution. Let's not like downplay that, but there's not that heavy bureaucracy where you have to go to your associate, then your VP, then your MD, then your D, then you go to the head of group to get anything done. It's really quick conversations with the people that you're in the group with, and then you're able to really actualize your ideas once you've got an input from others, and it's a really collaborative space from my understanding from working here so far.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a very flexible, young company, which I think is very important for getting a lot of the challenges that we need solved. A lot of bureaucracy. The thing that plagues a lot of big institutions is its bureaucracy, is the gap between idea to action. But JEPA being so young and so agile, it definitely bridges that gap. But we've given our audience a feel for who JEPA is. I think we should explain what our podcast delivers, besides 2 devilishly handsome young men.
Hey, the flitter, the great words, Kuda. I think that's something we're gonna start to realize with Kuda throughout these episodes. His mouth. Hey, I'm sorry. Pause. But he's very good with words and very good at articulating his thoughts. So I guess on that theme of giving a bit of understanding of what our podcast is, let's maybe split up the 3 sections that we have, which is JEPA interviews, which I shall be hosting, JEPA Discovers, which will be hosting by Kuda, and then me and Kuda will have a little like collab sesh with JEPA Yaps.
Yep.
On the interview side, it's now kind of your usual type of podcast format where I'll be sitting down with some really interesting people across different industries, people within politics, people who are young our age, and we'll be discussing what they're doing, how they're making impact in East Africa, and also we'll be talking about what you as the audience are interested in terms of those people. So ideally, before episodes, we'll kind of give a teaser of who the next person will be or whatever space that we're in, and we'll be getting input from our audience and trying to incorporate those conversations or those questions in the conversations that we're having. On the Discover side, what will you be bringing, Kuda?
I just want to say it's a shame that you're the host, because I would love to interview you. You're a very, very striking man. I wish you could one day I will interview you on interviews. But when it comes to discovers, to discover really means to become aware of, which is what this segment aims to do. The segment is aimed at teaching, raising awareness, and inspiring thought within the leaders. The people that we'll have on Discovers are experts in a particular field or enthusiasts who will have a lot of information, be able to teach us a lot and open, if not teach us something for the first time, offer us new perspective on tackling a similar and unfamiliar problem. The goal is to have the viewer hungry to learn more and to be able to directly act on the information which they have newly acquired, essentially to view the world through a new lens. And it's really about learning, discovering, being ambitious, and enriching your mind with the information that you have come across.
That's exciting, really. And I'm excited to hear. I got a little sneak peek of what you guys will be doing on that first conversation. So I listened to that in the car the other day and I was like, wow, this is like phenomenal. Like I'm learning things. I'm getting to hear something that is East African based. I'm getting to hear my friends speak about really interesting topics. So I think that's going to be a great session and a great segment. I'm really excited to see what you guys do with that. On the YAP side, I think we talked about this yesterday and we kind of termed it as almost not really a therapy session, but a bit more of that softer side of JEPA. You see guys opening up, yeah?
Yeah, it's all about guys opening up. Maybe therapy is what we actually need, but instead of therapy, they gave us microphones. But
and we're here. We're here.
But we're here. So the YAP is just
pandemic, honestly.
So the YAPs is all about bringing a personable side where it's not all the time must you discuss development and challenges, but I want to discuss challenges which are personal to me now, growing up and being a young man trying to navigate living and finding a job, or life and stress and rejection. All these topics which are more vulnerable and affect us all, I think it deserves a platform.
Yeah, definitely. It deserves a platform, and it deserves a platform for the people within the JEPA who have various different ranges of thoughts, but also now, I guess, we'll be inviting other people from outside of JEPA and incorporate them into those conversations. Maybe experts in certain spaces. Maybe we're talking about something to do with mental health. So maybe we can actually now have this proper therapy session. Was not really a therapy session, but have now a more informed person on that space and kind of guide the conversation that way. But it's going to be a lot more free flowing, a lot more, I guess, those more personal topics to you, and also just giving you a better view of a more rounded view where we tie in some aspects of what we've talked about in Discovers, what we're hearing in our interviews, and tie them into this one space. And I think I'm also excited about this space in terms of YAPs is that we'll be working together on this section.
Yeah, that I'm looking very forward to. I believe me and you, we have a lot of chemistry between us. I might be flirting with you, Murimi. Damn, you might be flirting with each other in public.
We'll take this offline. We'll take this offline.
We'll take it offline. We'll get a room. Pause. But, but no, definitely, I'm looking forward to doing this segment with you and also picking your brain. But whilst we're on this same topic, why don't you tell us who you are? Why is it that I am looking so forward to doing this with you? Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay. So my full name is Murimi David Kanyogo. I'm born and raised in Nairobi. Went to school in Nairobi till I was 13. Then went up country for my GCSEs and A levels, and that's actually where I met Kuda. Kuda and I lived in the same boarding house. We had the same boarding house parent, Mr. Okidia, shout out, and Mr. Otieno. And we grew a small brotherhood there. But after Turi, I moved to the US. And that was a different step because a lot of people who were in Turi were really going to the UK. And in my year, there was a big movement towards Canada. So I went to the US and there was really only 3 of us. So it felt like a brand new space for me. There wasn't much people that I knew, but it was also an opportunity to interact with different spaces and also just kind of decide what I wanted to do. So when I went to college, I thought I was going to do pre-med and I started on a pre-med track. Actually,
really? Pre-med? You did economics? I mean, in school, you did economics, history, and math. What do you mean you were going to do pre-med?
I wanted to do pre-med kind of it even goes back to year 10. So in year 10, when you do work experience, my work experience was with Gloria Terragat, who was also in our school. And we went and shadowed a cardiothoracic surgeon. We watched surgeries and I thought that was really interesting. And then also I come from a family where my dad's a doctor. So not really, there's never been pressure for them to say, oh, go be a doctor, but it kind of informed my thinking towards that. So went into my first year, and with the US, that's the interesting part about the US system is kind of there's a lot of free will to dabble in many things. So my first year was really pre-med focused, and I took my first biology class my second semester. I did decent in it, but then I also said, this is not for me. This is not my piece. Yeah. So after that, I kind of did a bit of like soul searching, it was COVID. So I had a lot of time to think through things. And I decided I wanted to go into like investment banking. So I worked the rest of my college career towards investment banking, got into investment banking for my final internship, and then worked there full time, and then came back to Kenya at the beginning of this year. So that's really me on the career front, but more on like my personal side. I think I'm a person who's very interested in like many things. I'm interested in really like exploring things, different topics, different activities. The next thing I'm actually trying to pick up properly now is jiu-jitsu. So I'm yeah, it's partially informed by watching too much UFC the last few months, but I've heard good things about how it's a great like mental thing, but also a great like physical thing. And then in more like conversation things, I was thinking about this today. I don't want to say I'm like the devil's advocate, but I like offering a different view, even though I like a lot of the time in certain conversations, it's not to be antagonizing or anything, but it's really just I find it fun just having a conversation where there's different views, kind of like. So that's what I'm trying to bring into my interviews. Definitely digging into what the person is doing, but also offering different ideas from what they're doing and kind of challenging our interviewees on some of the aspects of their world. And beyond that, I'm a young Christian man, and I'm here just to really excited to work with JEPA and work with Kuda and work with the whole team, honestly. Yeah. So that's a bit of that's my little pitch. I don't know if you're still interested in that date, but
no, if anything, I'm even more interested, Murimi.
Okay, so I've done me. So now, Kuda, who are you?
My name is Kudakwashe Mutasa, and I was born and I am from Zimbabwe. But when I was about 3 years old, my family moved from Zimbabwe and we moved to Kenya because Zimbabwe was not really the place at that time. It was really taking a nosedive. So moved to Kenya, but since I have moved, I've lived on all four corners of Africa. I've lived in Zimbabwe, Kenya, Tunisia, and Ivory Coast in the West. You know, you've already spoken, we went to school together. I then went to university in Manchester, at the University of Manchester, and I studied business management. As my undergraduate degree, I'm now about to enter a postgraduate degree in digital transformation. So that's about the use of emerging technologies such as AI in business, but with a particular focus in financial technology. So cryptocurrencies and all these things, which used to be laughable discussions, but now clearly they seem to be significant enough for me to go and study them. So that's me. I'm interested in creativity in general. I love to paint. I love to spray paint. I love to draw. I like to play the guitar. I love to play instruments in general. I love to attend art galleries. I like to go to museums. I love to read. I love culture. I love theater. Fun fact about me, I used to be a theater kid when I was younger. I think it must make a little bit more sense now that I used to be a theater kid. It must make sense. But yeah, I did a lot of theater when I was younger. And here we are. I also used to host a little funny little interview podcast type thing on my Instagram private when I was younger. And I used to interview a whole bunch of people. My first ever person I interviewed was a friend of mine who had worn sanitary pads for the day. And it seemed to be breaking news. Oh, this guy, he's wearing pads. Like, let's interview him and see what it's all about. Ultimately, that formed a wider discussion about like menstrual health in general, which was actually wonderful. So I'm glad I did that. But now I seem to be discussing the development of East Africa on a podcast. So we've kept on that same trajectory of speaking in front of the camera. Decided to be a host because I think that the topics that we're discussing are important, and we need people who not only are handsome like yourself, but for me can ask interesting questions. So I think that little synergy between you and I makes us a perfect duo. But for me personally, that's one of my main inspirations as to why I would like to, host a podcast. Not just because I'm a finance bro with a mic. I promise.
We're two finance bros with a mic. I don't know.
Finance bros with a mic, and I'm about to be a fintech bro. I'm about to be tech and finance, bro.
You're like
And
the final boss. You're like the
I'm
final
the
boss.
final boss. I'm
Yeah.
the final boss.
Yeah, but it's exciting, really, and I'm really excited that we're getting the chance to do this. And I think part of why we're doing this, as we've had these conversations together, me and you and the wider team, is to, as you talked about it earlier, but just quenching that thirst for something truly East African. And I think that's what this Karibu JEPA is bringing. It's bringing us as the youth within East Africa, something that is talking about the pressing topics that are not plaguing us right now, but at the forefront of our minds. A lot of us are looking at East Africa and Africa as a whole as not a blank canvas, but a canvas that can be, or like a canvas that can be molded into what we want to see. We've seen a lot of previous generations do their style. They've had high hopes, but sometimes we feel like they fell short. So this is really us as JEPA and us as a generation really stepping up to the plate and starting to have these conversations early and pushing forward our goals and our dreams for this continent through media platforms, but also we're hoping that this transpires into greater things beyond just media.
Definitely. That is very true. That is the case. I'm looking forward to what we also have to bring them. Coming up, we have interviews or discover sessions with people who are very into F1 and do interesting things in that space. We have sessions with politicians. We have sessions with experts in energy and climate and renewable energy and fuels. We have people who are very big in animation and film, which is very interesting. So the host that we have coming up for everybody to see and to be excited about covers such a broad range of topics.
Yeah, so broad and so important at this time. So I think we've given this as like a trailer. This is a trailer for what's to come, and it's really gonna be a trail. We're hoping this is gonna be a trailblazing path that we're setting with these interviews, with the discovers, with the yaps, and hopefully when we get that therapist in, we can deal with some of the internal issues that are.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Murimi, anything with you as a host, I'm sure is bound to do well.
Same to you, brother. Same to you. Beyond that, we really would just want to appreciate you for taking the time to listen to us. This is a quick sneak peek of what's coming, but just stay engaged with us. Subscribe and follow on all your podcast listening platforms, and give us those 5 stars. I know it's early, but it's like you're buying the Bitcoin when it was at $500.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Get in during the dip.
Yes, but this is the dip.
I mean, because of how far we're going, this is the dip. This is the beginning. But definitely also, please do, for the guests listening, do send us your thoughts. Send us a DM, send us an email, give us your thoughts, your opinions. If you think we've covered something, if you think we fell short in covering something, do let us know the things that you'd like to see, the people you'd like us to interview, and the content that you just like to see on the platform. As much as we are, or rather I am doing the podcast just as an excuse to see Murimi, I'm sure Murimi is concerned with giving you content that you can consume and be happy with.
Yes, indeed. And we will be, as Kudu was saying, DM us, and we will be reachable across all platforms at Karibu JEPA. And in the show notes, you'll get a link to our email and all our socials as well. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. We really appreciate just the ability to give you something new and something fresh, and you investing with us early on. Karibu JEPA is brought to you by the people that you're seeing here, Kudakwashe, Mutasa, and myself, Murimi Kanyogo, who will be your 2 hosts for the foreseeable future. But we'd also like to really thank and shout out the people behind the scenes who really are making this a reality. So on the one side, we have our research team, our really dedicated research team, who give us notes about our upcoming guests and really give us a platform to really build our conversations off. And the 2 people running that team are Edgar, Wakaba, and Kreeshi, Shavdia. And also we have a communications team. So they're the people who have been setting up our social media and who will be really communicating about how getting this podcast out to you in multiple formats and making sure that it sounds good, looks good, and is really presentable. That team is being run by Rebecca Tadayo and Brian Mutua. And there's a lot of other people behind the scenes who are really making this a reality, and we'd like to thank them all. And thank you as well. So feel free to leave a like, share, or rate us. 5 stars on your favorite podcast platforms. Until next time,
Karibu
JEPA.
Okay, we can they can edit this part. Let's do that again. Okay.
Okay. So until next time,
Karibu
JEPA.
Wait, Murimi.
How? What am I doing wrong?
No, I thought it was until next time. 1, 2, Karibu JEPA.
Okay, so yeah, Karibu. Until next time, 2, 3. Oh, Karibu JEPA. Okay, yeah.
10 hours later.
Until next time, Karibu JEPA.
JEPA.